So let's talk about something called the gifted trap. It's this surprising, kind of backward reason why being called smart as a kid might be the very thing that's keeping you from really succeeding as an adult.
I want you to just think back for a second. Go all the way back to school, maybe family holidays. Were you the smart kid? You know the one I'm talking about. The one who always knew the answer, who finished tests first, the one who just kind of got things without really trying. Does that sound like you?
Everyone told you that you were special, that you had all this potential. The future was supposed to be a piece of cake. But now, well, now you're an adult. And if you're being honest, you feel kind of stuck. You know you're smart, but there's this weird gap between what you know you're capable of and what you're actually doing. So what on earth is going on?
To really get it, we need to look at this idea of a cage made of praise. Because, and this is the crazy part, that gifted label you were so proud of, turns out it might have had a really surprising hidden downside.
Okay, this right here, this is the absolute heart of the problem. All the research points to this huge difference between praising talent versus praising effort. When you're told, wow, you're so smart, that leads to what we call a fixed mindset. But when you hear, wow, you worked so hard on that, that builds a growth mindset. And that one little difference right there is the key to this entire trap.
So what exactly is a fixed mindset? Well, it's this belief you pick up that your intelligence is basically set in stone. It's a static thing. You either have it or you don't. And if you believe that, then suddenly every single thing you do, every project, every new skill, it's not a task anymore. It's a test of how smart you are. And that creates this massive underlying pressure to always look smart and to avoid anything that might, show a crack in the armor.
Okay, so that's the theory from childhood. But how does that actually show up in your real adult life? Let's talk about being terrified of the struggle. Because this is where the rubber really meets the road in your career and your personal goals. Just see if any of this rings a bell. You have this need to just get things instantly. If you try to learn a new program for work or a new hobby and it's not easy right away, you get super frustrated and you're tempted to just quit. This means your ego is, well, it's kind of fragile because it's all tied up in how well you perform. And because of that, you become terrified of the struggle, that messy, awkward, difficult part where all the real learning and real success actually happens. At the end of the day, the fear of looking stupid starts to become way stronger than the desire to actually learn something new. And this is the great irony of the whole thing. The very quality you were celebrated for your whole life, your intelligence, it's become a cage. Yeah, it's a nice, comfortable cage where you're safe from failure and looking dumb, but it's still a cage, and it's keeping you from taking the risks you need to take to really grow.
All right, I know, that's the heavy part. But look, there's good news. There is a key to unlock that cage. So let's totally shift gears and talk about the solution. It's time to enter the fool phase. And yeah, it sounds weird. I get it. But it is the single most powerful, counterintuitive way to finally unlock all that potential you've got locked up inside. The entire idea really boils down to this one simple but really hard concept. To truly succeed, you have to give yourself permission to look dumb. You have to give yourself permission to be a total beginner again. It's about letting go of that need to be the expert in the room and just embracing the absolute freedom of not knowing.
So what is the fool phase? Let's be clear. It's not about being a fool. It's about being willing to play the fool for a while. It is a conscious, intentional choice. It's a period of learning where you decide, on purpose, to disconnect your self-worth from getting instant results. You just decide to embrace the clumsy, awkward, messy process of being a novice because you understand that's the only real path to getting good at anything. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? So in this last part, permission to be a beginner, we're going to make this super actionable. We'll map out how you can start your journey out of that cage like today.
Really, it comes down to 3 big mental shifts. First, you just have to acknowledge the cage. Just start noticing when that fixed mindset pops up and say, there it is. Second, you have to actively detach your worth from results. Your value as a person has nothing to do with how fast you learn something. And then third, you have to embrace the fool phase. You consciously choose something you want to learn, and you give yourself permission to be absolutely terrible at it for as long as it takes.
And I really want to make this crystal clear. This is not about being less smart. It's not about lowering your standards. It is the absolute opposite. This is about being brave.
It takes so much more courage to willingly step into a situation where you're a beginner, where you have to ask the quote-unquote stupid questions, than it does to just stay in your comfort zone where you already know everything.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final question to chew on. Everything you want, the growth, the success, the fulfillment, it's all waiting for you on the other side of your fear of looking stupid. So the only real question left is, what are you willing to look foolish for?